And the first thing you're going to need is a recipe. This one I got it from my brewing store. This recipe calls for steeped grains, which is a really simple thing to do. All you need are ground up grains and a grain bag, a fairly sizable pot. This is 20 quart, and very important, you need a thermometer. Tie a piece of string to the handle of a candy thermometer and place it in the pot a few inches from the bottom. And then I take the handle and wrap it around a few times. Tuck it under on there so it does not fall into there. So I'm going to use bottled water because otherwise I have to filter it in that little thing. Pour it in. So we're going to put it on high and heat up the water until the thermometer reads about 150, 155. You want to steep the grains between 150 and 165, and you want to keep it in that temperature range. But once it gets to that temperature or a little bit above, you are going to turn it down a little bit to keep it at that temperature. The thermometer has reached 160. To stretch this over something like this while you put the grain. One bag full. But this one, I got a little knot put in it. And then take our grain bag, just let it down in there. Make sure it gets all soaked through there. So this ended up needing 2 bags because it was such a big batch. Now you can see that the bags have been added and the water is turning like a brown. On the counter there you can see I just bottled the last batch and this bucket is now empty, which is a good thing because I'm going to use it for my fermenter for this batch, which is why I had to finish it. Okay, so here's our tea. Our barley tea water has turned very brown. Take out the thermometer because we don't need the thermometer anymore. Alright, so now with tongs and an aiding spatula, which is not very strong, the grain needs to drain a little bit. You can just gently press on it with a spoon. The next step is to take the malt, and they sell bulk malt at a lot of brewing shops. This is 5.5 pounds of amber, sparkling amber malt or something. So it's very sticky and it's very thick. Carefully opening very sticky malt. This is an important step. And if you do not follow this, you may get scorched. You want to take it off. You want to take the malt. It almost looks like honey. See how thick it is. Alright, so spoon some of this hot water into the, well, it's not only water now. Spoon it back into the bucket. Swish around. Alright, and now our pot of wort is ready to boil. As soon as we've made sure it's all very dissolved at the bottom. And now we are going to put the stove on pretty much high, a little bit under high so it doesn't scorch. And then we're going to wait until this boils, since it's going to take a little while. You can go do something else, but be careful to watch the pot because you're liable to have the pot boil over when it does start boiling. So don't let it boil over. Keep an eye on it. The wort is not boiling yet, but in the meantime, I'm going to get the hops ready. These are East Kent Golding. What I'm going to do is take the hops, which are whole flower hops, and put it in my third bag for this kind of thing. Shift them down in there. A little knot. And these will go in the wort as soon as it starts boiling. Now it's boiling away. We'll take our hops, which I've kind of loosened up here, and dunk them in. Kind of like a tea bag. And now that it's boiling, you want to turn it down to whatever will maintain your boil without boiling over, so you probably want to keep checking it. So I've got a bucket here that I put 5 gallons of water into, and I'm going to put 1 fluid ounce star san, which is 2 tablespoons. So to sanitize your bucket, you want to wash it out really well first and make sure there's no residue there that could harbor bacteria. Take the sanitizer, and after you swish it around in there, dump it out and rotate the bucket as you pour it out, so that way all the edges get sanitized. Sanitize well. Now, some people say this is a no-no, but the store I first bought my brewing equipment from recommended it, and that is to buy like 14 pounds or whatever. These are 7-pound packages of commercial ice. and dump them in your fermenter bucket to cool down the wort really quickly because you want to cool it down as quickly as possible. Alright, so grab the hops, squeeze them out a little bit. Alright, well, I missed the pouring the wort into the bucket because I thought the camera was on and it was off, but it will. There's the wort in there, and you can see there's a few ice cubes left in there. And it's not quite filled up to 5 gallons, so we're going to top it off with water. And if it hasn't cooled down enough, I'm also going to add a little bit more ice. Pour it into your bucket. Alright, by putting our sample in the freezer, I've gotten it down to 63 degrees. So I've got my hydrometer in the tube. Carefully pour it into the tube over something. I like to take a corner of a cabinet and prop it up there. 62. So I've got the yeast here, which I've sanitized, and by dipping in the sanitizing solution, I put half a cup of water, 4 ounces, like it called for in the package. Heat it up for 15 seconds in the microwave, which is to 90 degrees. Sprinkle it in there and set that aside. Alright, then once you've let your yeast sit for a while at room temperature, you want to cool it to about your pitching temperature, which is 68. And pitch the yeast. Alright, now you want to take your airlock, stick the bottom of it into the bung, pull up the fill line, and pop this little guy in the middle. Snap it on there. And then you're going to get your lid, which has been sanitizing. You have the sanitizing bucket. Snap it on the top there. Set it in the middle. So once we pitch the yeast, that's pretty much it for the next 2 or 3 weeks. In 2 or 3 weeks, I'll take a few hydrometer readings, check that fermentation has stopped, add priming sugar, and bottle. But that'll be in another video when I bottle. See y'all later. But under 48. Do you want to be in the video?
No.
Can I put that in there? Okay. And make sure it's very sealed. Shit.